Shades here with RVT Entertainment. We are at Metrocon 2013, and I'm here with the wonderfully talented and beautiful Miss Janet Varney. Janet, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Shades. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Let's get this party.
Can you call me Specs if I call you Shades?
You can do that.
Sounds good.
All right, Specs. Let's get this party started here. So, you've done a lot of different types of work in entertainment. You know, with live action, stage, voice acting, and everything else. How did you guys exactly get started doing all this?
I started when I was a kid. Not to say that I was doing it professional like Dante, but I was just doing it in school. I loved performing. I went to a magnet school in Tucson, Arizona, and they were, big proponents of the arts, and therefore I am a very big proponent. Like, I just strongly feel that we should have the arts as part of our regular curriculum in public schools. I don't think that it's a situation where we can afford to make budget cuts that cut out the arts. I think people learn math and science and every other subject better when they also have music and dance and acting and all that kind of stuff available to them, painting, fine arts. So that was just something that I did for fun when I was a kid, and continued to do it up through, went to school, majored in theater, but you don't have to go that route. You can study something else and end up doing this too. It's you never know. And I didn't think that I was going to end up doing this for a living. I really thought that my schooling in theater might be the last time I ever did it, because I was very pragmatic and I thought I'll never make a living at this. So I did a lot of other stuff in my 20s before I ended up surrendering to the bug. They basically came and dragged me down to Los Angeles kicking and screaming by that time, but I'm so glad that happened, because now I get to do this thing that I'm super passionate about. Just kind of came back around to it.
Yeah, creativity is definitely something that has to be in everyone's life, and I think it's something a lot of people forget about that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, before you got your break in the voice acting thing, one of the things you were most known for was Dinner in a Movie, the thing you did on PBS.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like working on that?
Oh, so much fun. That was such an awesome job. It was a show that I had watched when I was younger. I'd watched it when I lived in San Francisco, so I was a fan of the show. It was very surreal because it was really my first big job when I hadn't even, I think I'd been down in LA 6 months when I booked that job. And the audition for it really was, they wouldn't tell me what it was for. They just had me come to TBS network and just sit down with like a couple of people from like, I didn't even know who. They were just like, they want to meet funny women. And I had just moved down, and so I went and sat and met with them. I had no idea it was for anything specific. And then I got this call from my manager saying, what you were having a meeting for was actually the show Dinner in a Movie. They're replacing the person who's on it, and they want to test you for it, which at the time I was still getting to know what that means. But they had me they actually rented out a space in a cooking school so that there was a stovetop and cameras set up, and they just kind of threw me into it with Paul and Claude, who were also on the show, and we kind of made something together, and we joked about a movie as if we were watching it, because that's sort of the device of Dinner in a Movie, is that you watch a movie and then you cut to us and we're making a recipe that somehow relates to the movie in a cheeky way, and they'll do little comedy bits and sketches and stuff, and so yeah, it was just like a little bit sort of thrown into the bowl with a red cloak, trying to make it happen, but I guess they liked the chemistry, so I did that for 7 years, and we shot it in Atlanta. I love Atlanta. I love the people there. I love the South. I love the food. I don't love the humidity. What are you going to do? Sorry, Tampa. But I'm from a desert. What can I say? But it was like a complete blast. Those guys are like family to me now. We're still very close. And, I also learned how to cook. So that's not the worst thing in the world.
No, absolutely not. Trust me, it gets you through in life.
Right? Food is good.
Yeah, trust me, I can understand the humidity thing. I live here, so I know exactly what that's like.
Rough.
Now, you've also done some work with the Mystery Science Theater-inspired riff tracks.
Uh-huh.
What's that process like? What's it like doing one of those?
Super fun. My writing partner in that particular project, Cole Stratton, who I also produce SF Sketchfest, which is a comedy festival in San Francisco, with, he and I were first brought on to write for Mike and Bill and Kevin from MSD3K, and then they started doing this thing called Riff Tracks Presents, where they have the actual performers and writers write and perform their own riffs to certain movies. So basically, they just let us know that they want us to do a new movie, and we'll give them a list of like 4 movies that we think would be really fun to do, and they sort of figure out which one they want us to move forward with at any given time. And then Cole and I usually watch it together once and make some jokes off the top of our heads and write those down. But then the real process is, it's literally like you're pretty much writing a joke every 10 seconds. So it's such a great exercise for anyone who wants to write. I would honestly say if you like joke writing and you like MST3K or something that has a vibe like that, it's a really great exercise to grow as a writer to try to do that, because you realize you have to watch the same 5 minutes of a movie like an hour. It takes an hour to write 5 minutes worth of jokes, because it's like bam, 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 bam. So it's good. It's like flexing a muscle. So I like doing it even from that perspective. And then we usually split it up, so we're sort of writing in chunks. Like we'll take like a 20-minute bit of the movie, and we'll come back and work those out together, and then eventually we end up with a finished product that we go down, and we have a full script that we go down and record in San Diego for the guys.
Yeah, actually, I've done a little bit of riffing myself. We riffed
Nice.
a Japanese tokusatsu movie.
Oh, how fun!
Yes, and me and my partner Easy, we had to sit there for hours
Right?
trying to do it.
Such a long time.
It turned out really good, but yeah, I can definitely understand and appreciate the process to make one of those, and it's definitely difficult. Now, of course, we have to talk about the reason why you're here at Metrocon this year, and that is, of course, Avatar: The Legend of Korra.
I thought I was just had to do an interview with you. What is this Corey's?
But, what was the reaction you got? Like, have you actually gone back and seen Korra?
Oh, yeah.
You watched it? Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I've watched book 1 at least twice. I just think it's so amazing. I love the show so much. I feel so honored to be a part of it. I'm very emotional about it because I think it's such a brilliant show, and the first series is so brilliant, and to be a part of that legacy is just a tremendous gift, and I will never not appreciate it. I will never take it for granted. I'm just too big of a fan, of the animators and the soundtrack and the writing, and just Mike and Brian are like my heroes. So yeah, I'm definitely the last person that's going to be like, whatever, Korra Shmora. Never.
No, I actually went back and watched. I've been missing out on Korra because I've been wanting to catch up so badly. I have watched the first few episodes, and I can definitely say that alone, it lives up to the original series. So
thank you so much.
You've done a great job.
And you've created a good situation for yourself, because now the new book comes out in September. A lot of people have been waiting anxiously since, but you get to you can just glide right into it because you'll be caught up.
Exactly. Now, a couple more questions for you here. Any funny moments in the studio or on the set that you could share with us? Anyone that you recall?
Well, I always bust out laughing with PJ when we're recording Korra, because he improvises a ton and he's so funny. We all have a great time recording anyway, even if we're just riffing not in character, if we're just talking to each other. It's super fun. So that's always a blast. The most fun I've ever had on a set was doing Burning Love, which is a web series that ended up as a television series. With Ken Marino and about every famous funny girl in Hollywood. It was I've never laughed so hard in my life, especially season 3, because that was men and women, and so it's the funniest guys and the funniest girls out there, and so it was really hard to even get through a single take without busting out. So those are the moments when you realize it is so ridiculous that this is my job, that that you're the luckiest person on the planet.
Absolutely. I know that feeling as well. So, one last question for you. Besides season 2 of Korra coming out here, are there any other future projects you can share with us? Or, as I like to say, what can we expect from Janet the Specs Varney as we head towards the future?
Specs heading towards the future. Well, Specs is definitely still recording more Korra. We've got 4 books on that, so plenty of good stuff coming out on that front. I do a podcast called the JV Club that I'm very proud of. It's a very popular podcast on the Nerdist Network. I interview very funny, very cool, interesting women like Christina Hendricks from Mad Men, Gillian Jacobs, Yvette Nicole Brown, and Allison Brie from Community. Connie Chung, a former newscaster. Susan Orlean is an amazing writer that the movie adaptation was based on, the Meryl Streep role. Really, really remarkable women. We tell funny stories, kind of talk about our teenagerhoods and how weird and awkward we all are, even as adults. And I just shot an episode of Psych, shot an episode of Warehouse 13, an episode of Key and Peele. There's an episode of Kroll Show that'll probably be coming out pretty soon. So, just doing my thing. I'm about to shoot a pilot for USA, but I don't know if that'll ever make it to the air, but it's going to be really fun to do. So everything's good. Can't complain.
Apparently not. Yeah, you got a lot to look forward to. I'll have to keep my eyes peeled on a lot of that stuff. But Janet, thank you so much for joining us here today.
My pleasure, Shades. My pleasure.
And you guys stay tuned for more awesome interviews and awesome footage here at Metrocon 2013. I'm the Shades. We'll see you next time.
Oh.
Rock on!